Welcome back, everybody, to episode 57 of the Download Queue. Coming at you cold Sunday morning, afternoon. It's not even morning. My days are off. Sunday afternoon in February. We're live. We're kicking. I'm coming off of some wild ass illness. If I have no energy, I apologize. Kyle, you're hosting the show. Surprise. We're coming at you.
No.
We got some games. We got some news. We got some topics. We're gonna make it work with what we got. As always, Mr. The Dew hanging out with us once again.
Yes, yeah. Having a good time. Playing a lot of Destiny this week. Back in on that. Not as cold as it sounds like it is for you here in California. It's just a pretty normal day. 60s, 50s later tonight, maybe 40s. Not even that cold in the grand scheme of things, but people like to think it is out here.
We're at like a negative 16 right now. It's great.
I wish. I wish.
God. But yes, this is the Download Queue. Each and every Sunday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Two guys hanging out, talking games, getting together, making a beautiful show for all you people. You can catch us live, twitch.tv/Badlands Backlogs, obviously here now, or on YouTube. It'll be posted tomorrow morning on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever else you get your podcast fix. But until we get to the end of the show, we have stuff to cover. Kyle's got some NightReign, some Elden Ring NightReign coverage. We got some DICE Awards news. We got some stuff that came up today I'm throwing in here because we got random Sunday announcements for some live service stuff that I'm kind of confused by. We'll make it work. Kyle, I want to start with DICE Awards because I feel vindicated. My little blue buddy, my little blue robot, sweeping it again for the big title across the award shows this year, and I love it. Oh, you're muted. Muted.
All right, whatever. My bad. Yeah, Astrobot, big winner out of the DICE Awards. A lot of games winning a lot. You know, Helldivers 2, Indiana Jones winning a couple, and Astrobot seemed to be a lot of the recurring theme of winning games, which all those games are very, very good. Very good. I haven't played Astrobot, but come on, you can't deny what people say, and it's all consistent across the board. A fun game to play. Eventually, I probably will get to it. Maybe, who knows? Maybe my daughter gets me into it. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like a game that's just fun. So well deserved.
Yeah, I appreciate the DICE Awards. I was not aware. I know they happen. I know it's a more formal sort of award setting than what we're used to with Jeff Keighley's. But I had just found out this past year with all the Game Awards backlash sort of how what was nominated, that DICE Awards is kind of like it's the industry voted one. Like it's other developers voting on this stuff. It's people within the industry, not fan voted, not popularity voice. Like this is peer-to-peer review essentially, which I appreciate because I was like, I originally was like Keeley's to be taken more seriously and not have as much kind of stuff floating around it that they should probably go that direction. And then someone pointed out, they're like, no, it's exactly what the DICE Awards is, which cool, did not know.
Yeah, I started watching like the last 3-4-ish years, kind of glancing at it more so the last 2 solidly. It's just more, yeah, like you said, it's voted by the developers, but it's not full of ads and full of announcement. It is just an award show. It's they give the developers time, especially the last couple of years, backlash of not giving people time to speak when they get their award. DICE gives them time; they get to talk. It's just fascinating to get the peeks behind the curtain that they give you. You know, it's a small industry in the grand scheme of things within game development, so it's just a cool thing to do. And then, like, for them to point the winners, not that they mean more here, but they kind of do, right? Yeah, you know, so it's a good thing. I love watching it now every year because it's now something I look forward to. I'm looking forward to next year, obviously. Yeah, good little show.
Yeah, I pulled up the list here just to kind of compare. They obviously don't have the sort of hard cutoff that Game Awards does. I looked right at Game of the Year. Astrobot nominated, Bill Otro, Black Myth, Helldivers 2 was nominated, which a lot of people are upset about that in Keeley's. Indiana Jones is there, which obviously missed the cutoff point for Keeley's. Um, Helldivers 2 Online Game of the Year, Balatro Mobile Game of the Year. So yeah, it definitely opens up more to some smaller stuff. Even in like simulation strategy stuff, there's Tactical Breach Wizards and Caves of Quid, which I've never heard of either of those, and also were in the Keeley, so kind of branches out more, maybe more niche things for those specific titles or genres, I should say.
Yeah, I've looked into the weird game. That one seems niche as hell, but in depth. So it's cool to see that one kind of pop up and get a nod, at least in a nominee, and like, hey, yeah, that's interesting. But definitely, like, yeah, just being able to highlight stuff like that, and then I do like the cutoff point. You know, being in 2025, you get to talk about games in 2024. It just feels a little easier than Game Awards. It ends in November basically. So it's a little different. It's just how it is. But Indiana Jones, as you saw here, got a lot of sweeps stuff in outstanding achievement in story, adventure game of the year. Totally agree with both of those. And then of course, outstanding achievement in character. Dr. Henry and Indiana Jones. Troy Baker getting the win there. He had a great little speech about how it was about the character, not about the person, and he wants to keep focusing on that because it's more than just one person. And I just like Troy is one of those people. He starts talking, you're like, what are you gonna say? And like always long-winded sometimes, but always very interesting and like poignant, but not. I'm missing the exact words here. But what he said about Indiana Jones, I'm like, yeah, dude, like this totally is achieved within the game. So, yeah, I can't wait to see more from Indiana Jones. But yeah, it's just cool. Good show. I'm happy that Indy got some spotlight because technically it is a very good game and they did achieve some really good things overall with the game. If it lands with you, awesome. If it doesn't, understandable.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice having, like I said, the more formal sort of thing, because gaming still is, oh, it's the kids side thing. It's a little, in the wider majority of people, it doesn't mean as much, or I guess hold that sort of prestige to even expect to have a showcase like this, or not a showcase, an awards show like this. So good to have. I'm proud to have it here. Proud for the games to be given their spotlight. And
Helldivers 2, especially. That was great. I opted back in. They're doing a free weekend.
ooh,
But yeah, they got four wins or something across. So good game.
good game. Speaking of shows, earlier this week, Kyle, you graciously quickly put together a state of play reaction for us, as my schedule was out of whack. But we did a live reaction to that is available on the YouTube channels. Go check that out. I just want to quickly cover some stuff here to go over some of the bigger things announced. Housemarque's next title, Soros, is officially unveiled, featuring Rahul Kali, which sounds cool. It sounds very much like an evolution of what Returnal was. Same sort of ideas behind the whole design element of it, but as far as progression and the evolution, sort of how they're taking that genre, very much fits the mold of kind of where they've been going recently, which cool. They've always kind of been the outlier, I feel, for Sony Studios, and kind of reeling their ideas back into one formal place instead of branching out too much one after another. Because even just looking at like Resogun to Returnal, like that's a huge difference. But now they're, hey, we have Returnal, we did the update for it, we're pushing that a little further to get more out of it than what people were maybe expecting. So I'm curious to see what that is. Set currently for next year, another 2026 title from Sony, which isn't surprising, as we talked about on that show. As they're in a weird place right now.
Yeah, definitely don't need to talk about that too much. Fun teaser, fun surprise here. It's cool it's not a sequel to Returnal, but I'm always down for studios to take us something they did well and fine tune it to make it better, So I'm all down for this one. I want to get back to Returnal. I like the gameplay. I remember I bought like 5 or 6 PS5 games. That's like when I did a big purchase. I got a bunch on sale. Returnal. What are their other first party ones? Last of Us, Ratchet and Clank, stuff like that. Spider Man, and then I just never got to Returnal. I touched it I put like an hour, I think it says on the clock. So I do want to go back and try it out because I've heard enough about it. I've seen people play it, and it looks fun. It looks cool. I just haven't given it the time to do it. But yeah, looking 2026. We it'd probably be a solid game. But yeah, PlayStation 2026, man. Interesting.
Along with that, Borderlands 4 given a release date for September 23rd this year. Also, will be getting its own special theme state of play, similar to Final Fantasy 16 got leading up to that launch. So curious to see what they get out of that. Not really a game in my eyes that you can get a whole sort of brand new stuff to show out for it, but new trailer for Onimusha. Can't wait. I still can't believe this game is happening. And we're just hearing about it nonstop now. I was not expecting gameplay trailer at this so soon after the official reveal from the Game Awards in December. I was expecting like summer at the earliest to start getting actual content drops on this, but getting it now, I guess, is in a better place than what we were maybe expecting, or people were thinking it was at, as far as progress and polish and where it's at development wise. Uh, the Fabled Days Gone remastered also finally announced. Feel like that was around the same time last year. It started popping up in rumors. That'll be out April 25th with a $10 upgrade if you have the PS4 version already. Uh, what else do we got here? New trailer for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, which was announced at Game Awards 2. But let me tell you, after looking at more of this game, I am so hyped for this guy. Not even just like it's an arcade racer, okay? But they've released like a deep dive thing. It kind of does like Mario Kart, you switch between the flying and the underwater sections and stuff. It does that, but in a way where like the first place person can actually, when you cross into the final lap, there'll be like multiple portals that spawn in front of you that lead to other worlds, and you get to pick which way the race goes. So whoever's in first place can actually kind of like dictate what type of race happens at the end. Or if like, oh, I'm better at a flying section, go over here or go on this path, and it changes the whole map for everyone else behind you, which is a really interesting idea. And I think the way they're having it be a whole Sega themed thing, having that go into other game worlds, going into the other IPs, could be real neat, interesting at least.
That's a very interesting gimmick. You need a gimmick, right? Anyone can make a kart racer. Not everyone can make it race well, but get up there with the Mario Karts. You need something, right? You need something, and that sounds very interesting. And they also I hope they lean into the Cross Worlds and the Sega IP. Have fun with it. Oh my gosh, just please have fun with it and like get the movie skins in the game, right? You have your whatever anime style they have right now. I want to look at movie Sonic racing, right? As well. Like just lean into that and then the whole Sega Pantheon. You can have a fun little game here, Sonic Racers do something a little different, but yeah, I fear it's just gonna end up as a generic racer with a fun little premise of the cross worlds changing the last thing. Hopefully that's not it. Hopefully they can have some fun with it.
Yeah, I hope. I fear it's probably going to go that way where it'll be by Black Friday, this will be like a $20 thing on the shelf, whatever. But
Hell yeah.
there's hope. They're at least trying something instead of just, hey, here's Sonic and cars.
Yeah, no, it's a cool premise. So,
yeah. Lies of P got, apparently it's a prequel DLC expansion announced, releasing in summertime. I know you were excited to see this finally show up. I must have missed because everyone is expecting this to happen or knows what it's already this is about. So news to me. I'm curious to see if you jump into it on stream. I have no intention of getting into a Souls like right now, unless it's one we talk about later.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's a prequel. Yeah, I think it's just been rumored a lot of times, but I want to. I gotta get back to it. I need to get back to it. Yeah, that's it.
WWE 2K25 got a trailer, which was kind of surprising. I was not expecting that, or to have Paul Heyman there
Well,
getting
the
a whole
island,
for the
yeah,
island, which we
they
now know
didn't show
is
that off. They did a reveal, but yeah, they didn't show anything of the island because PlayStation got the reveal of it. And yeah, Paul Heyman. That's awesome that Paul Heyman's in a PlayStation state to play. But yeah, I mean, it's just 2K, NBA, 2K, the city, the neighborhood. It's just that in wrestling, and you get to walk around and instead of playing street ball, you're doing wrestling matches, right? It sounds awesome. Oh my God, on paper, it's so damn cool. I can make my own wrestler, my whole persona, buy outfits and license material from Nike and Jordan. And oh my gosh, that's awesome. And then I'm going to have to pay buttloads of money or spend hundreds of hours grinding so I can buy a shirt and not wear gray sweatpants and a brown t-shirt and walk around as a 60 overall and not being able to do jack shit in the game. So it's going to be very interesting. We'll see I'm intrigued by how the wrestling community reacts to it. I've already seen one of the creators status. What's his status? Forget the at specifically, but the guy he makes a ton of content, a ton of creations in the game. So they have a premium live event go on that night. Guess what? You can download that same outfit for Roman, that same outfit for Cody. That's different, right? That they just premiered. He's making those in the game, so you can go download them. You can't. That is not on. They don't have the island on PC. You don't have creations in the island. There's it's starting to create a schism in the game. Very interested to see how that affects the community around it, because I feel like wrestling is all about community. So if this is going to succeed, they can't lose the crowd that wants this, right? And the monetization of it, if it's too predatory or just gets in the way of other things, I don't know how many people are going to keep buying WWE 2K. if it's we'll see. That's where I'm most interested with it.
Have you jumped into the games yet, or are you still just purely watching? Have you done 24 or 23 for WWE?
I have it downloaded right now. I can hop in right now, baby. I can continue my GM mode. I can play my other My Rise. I haven't started the second storyline. I hop into My Faction to get the Greg Miller card, to get the Y6 stuff. I've done a little bit of My Faction. Don't like My Faction. It's just fun to go in and play and have a good time every now and then. I like My GM the most, where you do a draft of the wrestlers and then you do a show and have to compete for ratings across across the years. Super fun. I like that. Yeah, I have hopped into the game, so
cool. Well, at least you have a baseline to go off of when this does come out if you hop into it and try out the island. Because that was my thing too. I saw the island. I'm like, in my mind, I don't know how sort of closed off that content is from the rest of the experience. Like with the city and NBA, like, is that character
completely
just
separate.
in that game mode? You can't take it anywhere else?
Yeah, it's like it's going to be your superstar in wrestling, but yeah, it's just my player in NBA 2K, and it's your MP. That's how you're known as, and yeah, you play games like you get drafted to a team, and you're going and playing the whole season games if you want, or you're playing street ball with random people multiplayer, right? So and that's where people. I think majority of people in my player play. I don't. I love the idea of having a shitty player and taking them through a franchise mode and only controlling them. I love that aspect of it. It makes the first season of play suck because my player is a 60, 70 overall and they can't do jack shit. So I'm just literally, and if you sim it, you suck. So it does, you don't get money. You don't get the coins if you don't play the game. You barely get like 1,000 coins if you're starting off and you're shitty. It's just not a great experience.
God, yeah, that's it'll be interesting to see what happens. If anything, I feel it's just going to be a fraction of that community is going to splinter off and just live in the island, and that's where they will be. You're not going to have them in online matches because the online community is very, as far as I know, very healthy and active. My buddy Jeremy, he like plays ranked on there and has been like leaderboards in that for years. Like that's one of his main games he still goes to, and at least it has a
Crazy.
thriving community. So I'll be curious to see what happens once that does
Yeah.
launch and what happens.
I've seen people this week, last 2 weeks, probably because of the island and me getting more in the wrestling. I've seen more on my timeline, and I found people doing role playing leagues within it. So you make your own wrestler, you sign up, and you have your own moves and kits, and they're doing full on shows and booking. And this TikTok I saw was a guy being like, for the last almost a year, this faction has been winning matches, and all you do, yeah, you just sign up and they organize it. It's like, hey, I want a match. They'll organize it and they'll let you know, hey, it's your turn. Like match make, and then they just keep the stats in the background, and it's all role playing. Fucking awesome. That sounds great. Like what the island. That sounds like what they're doing outside the game is now in the game. But again, the monetization. How does it get in the way of people being able to do that? Because if it does, yeah, that's gonna kill a community, and they're not gonna move on. They're gonna stick with the one they have right now.
Yeah, I almost wonder if they're kind of prepping for that, and that's why, because they just shut down servers for 23 already, I thought. So they're like closing the older games out sooner and sooner, kind of pushing everyone towards the newer stuff if you want that. That almost feels like kind of a direction thing for, hey, can't play the old stuff. You're forced to come over here if you want this experience still.
Yeah, one way of looking at this, do we really think WWE 2K sells that much yearly every year? A way to make money and make sure you always get a game, have more monetization within it. NBA 2K is making buttloads of money. You want to keep making this game? Yeah, you got to figure out how to make money within it. We're 2K. We know how to make money over here. We have a property that's sports that does it. You got to do it. So yeah, I don't know. You could see it as a last ditch effort, and if you want to look at this negatively, like, oh man, they're being forced to put in more monetization features and such. Again, we don't even know. Like, this is all speculation of it being exactly like NBA, which it probably is. WWE ain't afraid of getting that money.
Got to make that bank.
Yeah,
Triple H needs a new yacht.
no.
Brighter things. We got the re-reveal, kind of. I feel like we've only got the initial announcement for Supermassive's next thing. Directive 8020 got a new trailer with an October 2nd release date for this year. So perfect timing for that, obviously. Get all spooky, get all horror-y in there.
Get all what?
Get all horror-y. I'm sick, Kyle.
Okay,
Leave me alone.
There's multiple syllables in there. You want to be hoary, do that.
In space.
Not October.
Yeah, there's some other. Hell is Us got a new trailer, release date for September 4th. New Digimon game announced. Midnight Walk got a new reveal for May 8th release date. So, a couple new things in there, a couple just mostly updates, as we said, with where PlayStation is at, which was expected. It was still very okay show, no matter what. I enjoyed it. There's enough there that has my interest, at least. I gladly picked up Hell is Us in our Fantasy Critic draft, so hopefully that lands and isn't a weird flop, please. Because I'm sitting at 82 right now with Avowed. Wanted more.
You want to talk scores real quick? I got whatever that game. What already came out? I don't remember. I'm just thinking about which one's coming soon. I got Monster Hunter Wild's about to come out. That should give me some points. I got 19 points on a game already.
Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Kingdom Deliverance 2. Thank you. And then keeping ahead, we don't want to jump there yet, but NightReign. Boy, I think I'm going to be around 50 points with just those 3 games easily.
Damn.
Look at that. Yeah. That's our little fantasy critic talk.
Throw in one.
Overall.
Oh, go ahead.
We go for it.
I was going to switch
say overall state of play. I agree.
Yeah. Before we get into NightReign, one news story to throw in happened yesterday. Hopefully this is the one we've been waiting on, Kyle. This is what we've been asking to be done for a while, and when I say it, you'll understand. Our boy Phil Spencer out doing fucking interviews again. Talking to the people. We finally got upfront from the horse's mouth. I'm finding the quote, but it's something we've been asking this whole time. Um, that they will be having pretty much from here on out PlayStation/Nintendo logos at the end of their
Oh,
trailers on showcases, which is the clarification that we've wanted as far as where stuff is going. And I'm just happy it took this long. We knew it was going this way, obviously, but we finally have, hey, you saw it in the developer direct. We had PlayStation stuff was going over there. What was going over there? June showcase probably be the same, especially switch to whatever it be. They will be officially just announcing themselves at the end of trailers where stuff's going. Which cool, I'm happy for. This is what we've wanted. I feel it's still going to be kind of weird for some people though. Like, oh, it wasn't at this one, so it's never going over. Where that stuff still year later changes, but at least up front you will know game X is going to PlayStation Day 1. Game Z is not. This is going to be just Xbox PC platform. This one's going to Xbox and Switch. And it finally took, geez, what, 4 interviews already this year? But we finally got direct clarification of how that's going and just more doubling down on promises for hardware in the future. Cloud gaming is growing and they're a largest grower for them. Um, these all should, I should say, also came from Xbox Era, was the ones that did their interview with their podcast for them. So shout out to them. I believe for their 250th episode, which is wild. Congrats. But finally got it from Big Boss Man himself. Finally.
yeah. I mean, it's I guess yeah, it's what they've been telling us for a while now. But now that they get to put the sticker on, that'll be good for people. That's a simplification of it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this is doesn't do anything for me. I guess it's going to help people have one less thing to complain about. That there's, hey, you can't say they didn't tell you because it's also shown there, so you saw it unless you're not looking. There's always going to be people to find something negative about this. It was a great little interview by Xbox Era. I watched it right before this. Some great tidbits and like this is where they've been going, Xbox, and like nothing to be surprised. And it is consumer focused as well as trying to explore and make more money as a business. But one other thing he said in that interview was called out how Xbox has been very respective of your library across generations, and it's incredibly true. My save from an Xbox original, not a 360 game, is still there, and they chose to keep that there, right? They didn't shut off the 360 servers yet. They those saves carry forward. They're choosing all that, and that goes into and the games go everywhere. There's no reason to block it all off right now. It makes them money. I really love the person asking, one of the hosts asking the question. People always would talk about the 30% that PlayStation is going to make with selling Xbox games and how they're going to use that 30% off of every Xbox game sold on PlayStation to keep games off of Xbox, right? And then they were, it was like, but what about the 70% that they're making? And still laughed at that one. But it's also very true. Like it was like, yeah, I guess we media only focused on that 30% that PlayStation makes. It's like Xbox still makes 70. They're gonna be fine. They're investing in everywhere and wherever you want to choose to interact with the system and the platform, that's where you get to go. Right? Wherever you want to interact with the games, that's where you get to go. And for me right now, I am not putting another penny into Game Pass until September, right? Because I already did that. So for me, it's free, and I don't. That's how I'm choosing to interact with Game Pass games, and that's how it is. And the choice is there for people, and I think they're ahead of the curve again. But I think they're not going to swing out on this one. They'll seem really confident in this interview.
Yeah, it's like it's I shouldn't even call it a news story, but like this should be the closing page on this chapter of where they're at. and by all accounts, this should be the end of it. Like you said, it'll be carried on. Um, there was one more thing from this that I have not seen any sort of update on or further sort of
You're gonna bring
investigate.
up Everwild?
I'm not bringing up Everwild. I'm excited though.
Oh,
No, one of the people on the show, uh, Nick, who notable leaker, like one of the bigger names for Xbox, tweeted immediately after the show was done that one of his like contacts DM'd him and asked specifically if he saw the new thing on Phil's shelf that has not been there in the previous interviews. And he sent him a screenshot of what it was. And I've seen a couple people speculate, nothing for sure. The only new thing I saw though, which I could be just getting my hopes up for old shit again, Kyle, but there was a little in the bottom right corner, little new Fallout thing that I don't remember seeing. And they said they should be hearing about it soon, but it almost makes me wonder if the Fallout 3 remaster also lives alongside the Oblivion remaster from the court documents. I'm like, oh, give me the old stuff. Give me the nostalgia to my veins.
you and this
I want it.
Oblivion thing.
It's happening. 2025. The year of my dreams.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't see that before. I was watching it and I was looking at his thing. There's a handheld that could be the Legion thing. There's the what's it called? There's a little white box right above his shoulder that looks like the Xbox TV thing that is just a streaming device. So a lot of interesting things on that shelf. I think a streaming device that takes the slot of the Series S in their portfolio makes the most sense. So we'll see if that's what ultimately happens there. I'm intrigued to go back now and see. He's teasing something back there.
Yeah, like I said,
That's something behind him.
the way he said, like the person emailed it or messaged him directly, it was like there is something new there, and he didn't see it first. Where the person had to like zoom in, screenshot, and send it to Nick to notice it. So there's something small, but that was the only thing I noticed. But I haven't looked too deep into the previous interviews to see. But I'm sure this upcoming week there'll be something. Windows Central will post a new whatever. But while we wait for that, you've been playing some NightReign. You've been killing some bosses. You've been back in the land of the Elden Lords. How's that going? Tell us all about it. Is this something I should be excited for?
I don't. I think so. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I got into the Elden Ring NightReign, just a network test. I've only played one session of it. Got about three. I almost went the full 3 hours there. Over on Valentine's Day. That was how I spent my evening as my wife put down our child, and then we went and hung out after. But anyways, it is fun. NightReign is fun. It is a roguelite battle royale. Not battle royale because you're not fighting people, but it is a roguelite with those elements of a closing circle that is the NightReign that you'll start losing your health in. It all culminates into spending your time trying to level up as fast as possible, which is not how Elden Ring normally works. And then as it closes in, you get to the end of the first night and you have a boss. If you defeat that boss, the fog comes, dissipates the rain, and you restart for another day, going to another boss, restart, and then you end up with that final boss on a 3-day cycle. Never got to another boss or the final boss there. I only got to this 2 rounds because it's hard. It just changes the whole type of gameplay that Elden Ring has and how you approach it. So they didn't have matchmaking on. They took that off for my playthrough. They were having some issues with it. So no matter what, like you were just jumping in randomly, and there was no way to talk to people. So the first couple runs were very rough, trying to figure out what the heck was going on, and then everyone kept spreading apart. But by the 3rd and 4th one, I ended up getting 2 back-to-back all wilder character. You get 4 classes to choose from. The one on stream right there, a basic sword and shield type movement, balanced overall guy. I got 2 modes, 2 rounds with all three of us were that character. And those both going into it, we were like, this is the run, right? I felt like this is it. We were leveling up fast. We were all in on it. We stuck together. But we both rounds ended with the second boss, and we both died. And it was just like, shit, no. This game is fun. There's something there where I never played Elden Ring multiplayer. I never jumped in with other people within that. So the novelty of that was really cool to me. Fighting a boss and having two other people pull aggro and pulling aggro for them while they do other stuff. It's just fascinating for that regard. But it was fun running around, and instead of holding B to run, if you play Elden Ring or FromSoft game, you have a sprint button where you press down on the thumbstick like most action shooting games, right? You press down and you're starting the sprint, and you have no fall damage. You're clamoring quicker. It just is a fascinating evolution of Elden Ring, while completely still retains what Elden Ring is. And I am just so stoked to see fully what this is at launch. I'm happy it's just a $40 title, nothing too crazy. They know what this is going into it. They don't have a crazy big scope of it, and that's fine. This is just something to replay over and over. I'm excited to see what the depth is overall. Gameplay loop is clearly there. They can definitely increase and change up what loot you find, and different areas to load into, different enemies to really change up and keep it varied between run to run. But what are you doing, right? Why are you going into each run? What's the overall thing going on? What are you working towards? Can you, in between runs, you get relics after every one that do provide permanent buffs. So I want to see if they expand upon that more. Are there quests like in Elden Ring when you can go talk to people, and will that be an aspect of this game? We'll see. But it comes out May 30th, and damn, this is a blast, and I'm so happy I picked it up for Fantasy Critics. Expecting at least some double-digit points from it. But this is something that I'm like really intrigued and like now leaning towards buying. Before I was just excited to try it out and eventually pick it up. But this is a fun game. So if they can show us a little more and tell us what kind of the depth is outside of just this gameplay loop, they can sell me on this.
So yeah, it's like you said, it sounds, the core Elden Ring stuff is there. Does the difficulty still stay? I mean that in a way of like, yeah, there's kind of multiplayer in Elden Ring, but now that there's 3 people, do like basic enemies, are they stronger? Are they still same kind of hits as you would be by yourself? Are you able to tank a boss by yourself, or does it always have to be a group thing? Or
So the 2 ways to play this is offline solo, which I didn't get to do. Well, I'll actually touch on that. And then 3 person. So there's no like duos as of right now. Going into it before the game comes out, they might change it. But so far, the enemies do scale, because I had around my last one I played. The 2 people I was with ended up leaving at separate occurrences after the first boss we defeated. So I was alone on the second boss, but that enemies definitely did not have the same health as they did with 2 other people, with 3 of us, because I soloed it, no issue. It was just like playing Elden Ring. And the way the level up works, I was level 10 at that point. So it wasn't like I was underpowered for this fight. I think, though, it did show me that, like, yeah, they do scale the health to enemies. And as people left my playthrough, I didn't get more people added in. It did those scaling enemies to me, and I was alone. So that was nice to see. And also to see, like, hey, you could play this by yourself, because that is an option that they've talked about. It's just not online at that point, obviously. But it does seem like, yeah, the enemy should scale with you, and as the nights progress, it seems. So you're not leveling up by the time when the day starts. You got to get going. You got to find equipment. You want to kill things to start getting enough runes to go to a site of grace to level up quickly. By the time you get to that, if you don't do that, you can enter the boss fight at night 1 with level 1. Like, it doesn't stop you. You will just be under leveled, of course. So it is a race against the clock, as opposed to planning out your leveling.
you said 4 classes in beta. Do you know, final, have they said, or
I think they said 8. There are 4 more to come. Okay. So 8 in total.
And then with each one, like the Wilder, you said, the sword and shield, are you locked into that? are you finding weapons that are just sword and shields, or can you still branch off and kind of make your own character as you go
Yeah.
through?
Yeah, I know you are finding loot just like a battle royale, like a Fortnite thing when you drop in, right? A roguelite is probably a better game to bring up with this. Um, I know one of my runs, I dual wielded two great swords and fell into one of my first playthroughs of Elden Ring's playstyle, which was to jump up and just slam both swords down. Another one, I had a twin blade, so I was dual wielding that. Uh, you definitely can find things, different weapons that change up how you play, of course, because they're different, they're used differently. But also, each item has a passive ability that is there no matter what. So there's a couple times I had two bows, right? And I wasn't using a bow at all for the most part, but they gave me like uh, increase my jump damage and then increase my dual wielding damage, which is what I was doing. So I picked up the bows and kept them on me because they helped me in general. So some of the items, all the items have those passives. So even though you lock in on maybe the one weapon you want, the one thing you have, all the other items still can benefit you, even if it's not the class you're using. You're a mage, you're not running around with a great sword, but you have one on you because it might help your magic damage for that time being. So it becomes kind of managing your inventory with that regard. That's how they're kind of giving you more abilities throughout each game.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm honestly more interested in this than any other Souls like just for that multiplayer aspect. Not only because it sounds different and unique, obviously, but I could be carried now by two other people and actually experience the game as it should be.
Yeah,
Which,
and also you can. I don't know if the loot is shareable. I didn't really pay attention to that much, but I think it's a great way to learn too. You know, you don't know how to use a twin blade. Let's show you real quick, and then now use it yourself as you're in a party, and all of a sudden, then you're using a longbow on the next run. You're using a sword on the next one. You all of a sudden you're using different acts and strategies, and you're using different status effects. When you go to Elden Ring, you're going to learn, you're going to know that already now because this game is forcing you to kind of learn there. It's putting those systems right at the forefront and saying, this blade gives you bleed damage. You're not using a blade, but now you're getting that benefit, XYZ. So I think, interesting way it can help people play these type of games. And it might get people who, like intrigued, but just not haven't dove in and really got it. I think that might be fair to say. This might help people get it.
yeah, for sure. That's why I said it's having that sort of backup to fall on in your party if they're not toxic and kicking you, but like gives you kind of that second push to take the time to learn things. And it's not, I feel the day cycle it goes through and the way it's structured leans in more to that too, compared to, hey, you made a ton of progress in Elden Ring and then you died and you're back like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, have to backtrack all the way. Like this, the gameplay loop lends itself more to that almost in a way that's more forgiving and more welcoming and wants you to experiment more, it sounds like.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that part is baked in as opposed to, yeah, forgetting to forgetting you have all the runes and you didn't touch a side of grace and you just lost a couple K.
It's not fun. Not fun.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
But yeah, like I said,
It's how you grow.
May 30th, very soon, very, very soon,
Mm-hmm.
which is wild considering it's just announced not that long ago. I'm loving these fast turnarounds. I'm curious to see how this does, not only being, as we said, very different from a normal Souls like, but just looking at video now, in my mind, I'm connecting it to something that's coming out in 2 weeks. And it reminds me a lot of Monster Hunter almost. Of squads going out, your different weapon classes, everyone's got different abilities, going out and hunting monsters or these bosses. I'm curious to see, because that's a fairly close window still, if that gets any Monster Hunter crowd over, if Elden Ring people come over to check out Monster Hunter before, if there's any like cross fan base thing going on, and how they stand up against each other.
Yeah, I think Monster Hunter though is a game that's made probably for hundreds of hours, and this one is made for the hundreds of hours, but very differently, right? Like this is
Yeah.
repeatable in that regard, where Hunter Wild seems more. There's just a ton of fucking content. So yeah, we'll see. That's interesting because I wouldn't have joined those two similarly, but the way you painted them, yeah.
Yeah, I was just
Let's see.
listening to you talk and watching video just now. I was like, in my head, I'm like, okay, so you're instead of building up resources, getting upgrades to track a monster at the end of the day, you're just going around Elden Ring collecting resources to fight a boss at the end of the day. Like, now in my head, unless I'm way off, but they sound very similar at least.
Yeah, I will say I have not played a Monster Hunter, but I would then say Elden Ring probably is way faster in gameplay loop as opposed to Monster Hunter, but could be wrong as well. Seems Elden Ring is all about speed. NightReign at least.
Yeah, good to hear. I'm glad that you were able to get into it. It sounds the times it was very set times people were allowed in.
No, there's one more tonight at 7, so it's 4:48 for me on the West Coast. So I got another in 2 hours. There's another one, so I'm gonna try to play a couple rounds of that at least to play more because honestly I'm itching to play more.
Hey, get you playing games, doing more than I'm doing. I'm too busy. I'm too busy stuck in my WoW
Hey,
hole over here.
hey, you're doing something. You know, you're starting a hardcore character again.
It's multiple. I've now lost 3.
Jesus, oh my god.
It's which again, it sounds like
Yeah,
something I
you
should be
can't
giving up
get
on.
over Elden Ring dropping and losing your runes. You can play a WoW hardcore and lose 3 characters forever.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's in all aspects. I'm like it should be bad, but I'm like every time I've done, it's new race, new character. I'm in a new zone. I'm starting over again, and it's also good. I got an add-on that keeps track of everyone in the game, and whenever someone dies, it pops up a giant warning in the middle of my screen. So it's just a constant stream of names popping up and where they died, who they died by. Makes me feel a little better about myself. It's a good time.
I'm happy that you're enjoying that.
It's this week. It's been more of I don't want to start anything new because Avowed is in 2 days now. Like I don't want to start anything and then drop it for Avowed, which sounds like it's great. Reviews are great for the most part. There's been some outliers, but shout out to that for Obsidian. They seem to have another hit on their hands, and I can't wait to jump in. Seeing more video on that, I am so excited.
Yeah, no, to touch briefly on that because we'll just talk mostly when we actually play it next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the reviews said everything I'm down for. You might vibe with the characters, you might not, and that's that's up to you personally. We'll see. But combat's fun no matter what. Across the board, people are like, combat's fun. Hell yeah. We'll see. Hopefully, the story can land for me. I'm leaning it will, but that's just hopes. But I'm down just to get lost in some fun combat and see where that goes.
Yeah. I almost broke when I came home Thursday with whatever I was down with. I was like, okay, well now I'm sick. I'm stuck on the couch for 4 days. Do I break and get the early access for Avowed? I did not. I held true, holding out for Tuesday. We're jumping in at the same time. Can't wait.
Yep. When does it go live? I'll figure that out later.
What if you go to New Zealand whenever you want? Um, another thing I found today in my doom scrolling on the couch, I put this in chat that I need to give a shout out to something. In my weird physical collector lifestyle, Kyle, all these games, beautiful games behind me. I've been manually cataloging this shit in a notes app for years. I've came across an app today called Game Eye, which you can just go through on your phone and barcode scan every single thing. It puts prices, it puts the console, it puts the name and artwork and everything. Holy crap. If you're a physical collector, download this. It's free thing. It's not money, whatever. Completely free thing. It catalogs everything by console, catalogs everything. There's a couple I had like Far Cry 4 on Xbox One, and it shares the same barcode with like a day one edition and just the base game. It asks you which one you actually have so I can catalog it separately. It brings in the prices from price charting online to give you kind of an overall, not really cost out sheet, but just what your collection costs at the time. Oh, lifesaver. Literally just bulk click on the picture thing and you just game, 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 scan them in nonstop. It's been fantastic. Can't do that with digital games, losers. They don't also take up a whole entire room in your house.
I'm like, it's already cataloged for me.
But it's not the same. It's just great.
Sorry, you like cataloging. I get it.
Yeah.
No, that is a very cool thing when leveraging that type of shit for. I thought it was like to sell it, and I was like, oh, that's really cool to see what the price is. But no, the catalog makes a little more sense.
Well, yeah, it could be for selling
That's
too if you're
awesome.
looking
Good
at
call out.
quick stuff. But yeah, it's
Oh yeah, I was just
games.
like, oh, you're selling stuff. Okay.
No, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not. I could be on the
No.
verge of homelessness. I'll be like, this is mine.
Okay, well,
But yeah,
your
it's
home is made out of those game boxes.
it will be games, systems. It also counts controllers you can scan in, enter those in
That's
manually.
cool.
Toys to life stuff, amiibos and Skylanders. Like it covers the whole gambit of stuff. I think even comic books. There's a whole print media section in here. Like it is a vast, vast useful app for multiple groups of people. If you're like me,
Hell yeah,
but
that's cool.
last little thing to throw in here as a little kind of closing discussion because there's been a building that we've mentioned a couple times now as far as live service games and where they stand going forward in the rest of the year and which ones will survive, kind of. Marvel Rivals has gone on the scene, blown up larger than I admit I was expecting. Um, kind of taken the flair out of some stuff like Overwatch 2, which has recently just done a big update, announcement, I should say, of where they're taking the game in the future. Which, to set this out for you, Kyle, for those who don't know, Overwatch to Overwatch 2 was promised to be a big single player expansion, single player story, making the characters be like classes where you have perk trees, skills to level up, kind of build out each hero as you see fit. Game actually launched, none of that was there. They canceled it all internally. It was just Overwatch 1 with one less character on each team, essentially. They've, in a weird move, almost completely reverted that decision. And in the upcoming updates, are now introducing perks back onto characters to level them up and apply different passive buffs. They are introducing um, essentially a Counter-Strike style mode, a round-based, like 7 mode-based uh, buy perks, buy upgrades, buy potions, buy whatever to go into defuse bombs. Like, they have completely taken sort of the hit to player base, I feel, of what Marvel Rivals has done and are kind of reworking the game at its core as a, I don't want to say last ditch effort because it's still doing well, but it's really like taken them on a course that they steered away from the past 2 years that Overwatch 2 has been out. On a similar course, right before we started recording 5 hours ago, Rainbow Six Siege over at Ubisoft, after they canceled X Defiant, just announced their Rainbow Six Siege X, which is essentially, it sounds like a Rainbow Six Siege 2. Updated graphics, a whole new engine, new mechanics, new characters, like a new revamp of that game that is having a full reveal on March 13th at a showcase they're doing. But it's just interesting to me, I guess, to see what games are doing to stay relevant, what games are doing to kind of stick with the player base as more live service stuff comes out, as more hero based shooter stuff comes out. Mentioned X Defiant, that's gone. Um, Apex Legends has gone almost completely downhill and tanked. They've closed Apex Legends mobile entirely already. Like, it's been a weird progression saying what's kind of succeeded and where I can't really even pick what games are still going to be here at the end of the year, I guess. And the way things are being canceled and with how studios are, like, just a weird place to be in.
Yeah, it's interesting the Overwatch stuff. Um, I mean, competition is good, right? You got to make changes, and Rivals comes out and does something that's free to play for one thing, and does a lot of what people want in Overwatch, and then just does pretty straightforward thing well, and it's Marvel IP. It's awesome. And now, obviously, this stuff was in work well beyond um, more when Rivals is out, get to work. We got to do all this stuff. No, they were working on this obviously before, so that's good. But yeah, competition is good, and I tried to get into Overwatch, never got into it, but we'll see. I mean, like again, remember like Overwatch was on like Overwatch 2 is similar to what happened to Destiny with Destiny 2. Like Activision made them make a numbered sequel. They were, they had to do that because that's how you made money. But then it was like, oh, this didn't work. With Destiny, it was a little different because you had a story thing, but they retroactively that now campaign is gone. Like there's a lot of things with Destiny that are, to me, point like that wasn't the right call at the time, and they kind of bungled it up there. Overwatch 2, very similar thing. I think both were going to PC, and was Overwatch 1 on PC before?
Yeah, it was everything.
Okay.
PC, console, Switch, like it was
Okay, then
everywhere.
disregard, because I know with going with Destiny wasn't, and then it jumped. So like that made sense for like an engine shift, right? But whatever, disregard that. But yeah, I just think we'll see what they do now, and I think it's a good thing they're still around, obviously. But being under Activision during that time clearly was something and was a time for studios and developers. You see Bungie now completely gone away from Activision, now they're under Sony, but Overwatch is under new leadership. Blizzard under new leadership, where, and going back to the Xbox era interview, Bill talking about Everwild being like, it's nice to give studios the time they need. We finally got to that point where we can give them the time they need to do what they need to. So that's something that Xbox can then pass down over to something like Overwatch in the grand scheme of things, of like, you have something, if we also believe in it, we being Microsoft Gaming above, we also believe in it. Yeah, well, you'll have our support as well, in doing what you need to. So I think this is cool. It's a step in the right direction. There's obviously a lot of assumptions here with this news and reading into it, but I mean, it's an overall a good thing to see games kind of do stuff. Hopefully this is a trend in the right direction for Overwatch. Overall, well, I don't know though.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's obviously was not. They were doing this well before Marvel Rivals. Like I said, it was more in depth leading up to Overwatch 2. Like they had full perk charts and stuff for characters. This is a more kind of pulled back, minimalized version of it. But to me, it branches out more to, we just mentioned like classic WoW and hardcore WoW that I'm playing, and that being sort of a more active version of World of Warcraft now. And when you bring up Destiny 2, I almost like, if Destiny this year were to announce they're doing classic Destiny, like Destiny 1, how it was when it came out, is that something that like you or the community would want? Or would like do anything for the people? Or are they just so focused on new and hoping that'll last?
WoW has always persisted, so it's a little different, right? It just added on top of the content from the original was there, right? With Destiny and Destiny 2, it's two different SKUs, two different games. So what people would want out of that is just a remake, a remaster, a story campaign. Just remaster the story of 1 and the Red War, which was the campaign in Destiny 2 that is no longer playable. They got rid of it because of the game was too big. All right, cool. Go, instead of making gummy bears, have a studio go just take all the stories and the kick-ass campaign that you had, especially if you bundled it all together and merge them. You could very easily sell a Destiny classic that is all the stories that maybe you don't get the multiplayer banana stuff, but yeah. I kind of took your question and started making my own product now.
No, I mean, it makes sense. Like you said, it's different base that
The
they're
idea,
coming from.
100%. As you see, like the gears turn instantly because you can't play the original story of Destiny to present day because you're missing the chunk of the Red War, the part where they blew up the tower. So you go to Destiny 1. I love Destiny 1. I'm going to play the sequel. What the hell happened? There's no way to see what happened in the game outside of reading it.
But then you just add in the Red War.
So
You
that's what I'm
add in the
saying. Like, I would love for them to do that. Like, I'm saying currently you can't do that, but yeah, I would love
yeah.
just the Destiny camp or whatever you want to call him.
Well,
But that could be like a WoW thing.
it's been I've been thinking about it because in two, the thing that everything goes back to this year too, in my eyes, is GTA 6, and that just being such a player engagement farm from everyone else. Like if that comes out with a GTA Online in depth sort of thing, where are the smaller titles, like not the Destiny small, but Rainbow Six Siege or Sea of Thieves or whatever it be? Like how much of a life do those things have, and what sort of final things can they output to either sunset it in a respectful way or set it up to be, this is doors closed where we're at for forever essentially. Because now it's the thing, like so many games are that live service thing, and we haven't really done that turn from, oh, on PS3 everything's a single player game, it has a definite ending. Sure, the
I think we
online's
have, though. Xbox's announced slate is a lot of single player stuff. So I think that fatigue has hit, and companies have already made the pivot.
yeah,
Especially with PlayStation pulling the cord on so much.
yeah, I don't think the fatigue hasn't hit. I don't mean it that way. I mean it in the way of we haven't experienced the aftermath of it, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Of having so many things gone, having so many things shut down at once. Because it's different than like Call of Duty multiplayer servers back in the day or whatever. Like it's a whole ecosystem essentially now you're shuttering, and how do you manage that, and what do you keep available for offline play, and those sort of discussions.
We haven't had anything big for sure, right? Like I think Concord being like what, like a crazy one, but of course it just didn't have support, right? But there hasn't. It's been X Defiant, which hasn't shut down yet, but will. What's that dodgeball one? Knockout City, isn't that shut down too?
Oh yeah.
Or right? So like, yeah, stuff has shut down, but nothing huge. So yeah, when does Apex Legends officially close the doors? And then what do you do with that, and how does that look? Very interesting. But yeah, I don't think everyone competing for everyone's time to keep everyone in their game at all times worked. And that's what I think we're seeing the industry kind of almost like a rubber band effect, just like it's kind of snapping back a little bit. And yeah, we'll see where it goes from here, but I don't yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm all for the snapback to single player stuff, honestly. Like the online era was nice. I have my Sea of Thieves, but again, it's just a time commitment. Like I'm forced to pick and choose what I want to play because I could be missing out on content in game A, but there's new stuff out in B, you know? And now that, cool, about
Yeah,
single
that's only
player.
a problem though when you have a battle pass that expires.
It is, but even then, like, there's some stuff, again, Sea of Thieves is my primary one. Hey, we just are doing a time limited event from, I think it was the 14th to the 28th. And after that, it's gone. I'm like, okay, well, why do I want to jump in and do that then? Like, I don't want to be guilt tripped into having to return to your project.
Okay to miss it though.
Yeah, but if I
It's the thing, we don't have to have everything.
no, but if I had to pick between missing out on stuff like that and just having more single player stuff, both large and small, from Doom to smaller South Midnight stuff to whatever Double Fine's doing next to the next Naughty Dog game, like I'd rather have that and do things at my own pace and fully enjoy the content for what it is than feeling rushed or decision paralysis of what I want to do, I guess.
Fair. Yeah. I do think it's heading that way too.
Keeps you on your toes.
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah. Well, there. Just a little discussion thing I wanted to throw out. Something to kind of break down a little more and look into, I guess. Which was good. Made it work. with that, Kyle, you got anything else going on over there you want to throw in here? Call it a show this week. This February
Yeah, I
16th.
don't. Yeah, no, I don't. Gonna try to play more Elden Ring. We got Avowed later this week. Super excited to play that, and that'll be what play next week, or talk about next week for sure. Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Yeah, nothing new on my side. Again, I've been down for the count past couple days. Please go check out Tangent Wrestling over on Kyle's channel on YouTube. Good old wrestling podcast. As I said, we got our state of play reactions over on Badlands Backlogs, along with my review for Rift of the Necrodancer, which has had a decent amount of people check out. So thank you very much for that. Again, this will be uploaded tomorrow, February 17th, on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, all the good music places. Even though this isn't music, we're just sweet, soothing voices for your ears. Till next Sunday when we come at you with a whole Avowed episode. It has been a pleasure. Happy gaming. We'll catch you all next time.
Bye.